This is the Hades. The Hades is another cool knife by Damn Designs, designed by Adrian D'Souza, the main guy at Damn Designs, and another knife named after a mythical badass. In this case, Lord of the Greek underworld, Hades. This falls in line with three other knives that I received through the Therapeutic Edges pass-around group. These are knives that were once recently available and will most likely be available again as D'Souza rolls out some other knives that are in the offing. He's doing these at an incredible price point. So this came in at about $50. The there are 4 other designs that are coming, and they are all in this same realm. When he first came out, his knives were pretty high end with M390 blade steel, titanium frame locks, and all of that. And he decided to go back to basics for a little while, get people hooked on his designs with more affordable designs, and then he'd be rolling back out with some of the premium stuff. So this is part of that effort. And as I mentioned, and we talked about on the podcast, and as you may have read in Knife News, he's got 4 other designs coming. But this is from the last batch, and they've been extremely popular. Lots of people have been oohing and ahhing over these knives for good reason. And so hopefully they'll be coming back with another run of these. This Hades, and then the Invictus, and the Fenrir, and the Cerberus. They all kind of have this same recipe where they have really nice G10 handles that have this very high chamfer on the sides. So it almost gives them a rounded feel in hand. Of course, they're not rounded. They're not going to turn in your hand when you use them. But this wide chamfer really softens the edges quite a bit, makes them feel really good in hand. So they all have those 4 knives I just mentioned, all have that feature. They have this signature concentric hexagonal show side pivot and a filler tab for the offside clip, because you can swap the clip either way. They all have steel frames inside that are milled and lightened so that the weight doesn't get too out of control. And in this last run, they used D2 steel, a very, very good steel for a knife of this price. You know, it's nice to see that 8CR13 MOV has been pretty much phased out. I mean, some companies still are sitting on giant batches of it, I guess, like Kershaw, but most other knife companies are not going to that as their budget steel. They've been going to D2. And then, like all the other knives that I've been talking about, this one has bearings. You can kind of see in there. This one is super smooth, but unlike the other 3, this is not a flipper. It is a thumb stud only knife, and for that reason, extremely pleasing to me. I do like flippers. I'm not a party pooper. I like a flipper, but I also just like a thumb stud knife too, especially on bearings. Something very pleasing about just nudging the thumb stud and having it rocket out like that. So you can see this knife has a nice distal taper from the spine. It has a pretty extreme clip taper here, and it comes to a screaming sharp edge. All of these damn designs are very, very sharp, and definitely meant for cutting, meant for slicing, because they come to quite a thin behind the edge measurement there. There you have the ram's horns and crossed knives, which look kind of like eyes to me. And you have excellent jimping. All of these have very nice jimping on them. Action is excellent. As you can see, it just drops shut. This is probably the smoothest of the batch. I know I showed at the beginning of the week, I showed the Fenrir, and not as smooth. Nice, I mean very nice, and you don't need your knife to drop shut unless it's just a little thing you like. But this one requires a little bit of help along the way, which I don't mind at all. But when you compare that to the Hades, it's a different story. Now I don't know if that's this particular specimen and this particular specimen, if this one's been used, and these are not my knives, so I'm not sure if this one's been used more and has gunk in the pivot. I have not taken it apart, or if it's been tightened down or anything like that. I don't know if it's specific to the model or specific to the actual knives themselves here. Actually, I'm going to show that these two really have a similar blade shape. I know one's got a belly and one doesn't, and one's a clip point and one's kind of, well, one's not. But these two remind me of one another because of those tips. Just extremely fine, breakable tips. No, extremely fine, usable tips. I've used this one. See how it just kind of snagged me there? I've used this one, and I've used the Fenrir. I used the Fenrir to cut paper, and I can't remember what I used this one for, probably opening up a box or something. But I do remember this one being very sharp and really nice to get into. Yeah, it must have been a box. I don't really cut much more. Oh, I know what this was. This was, I cut open a food package making dinner. And this, that's kind of one of my unofficial tests for knives, is how well the blades go through that sort of almost, well, that very thin and almost gauzy saran wrap they put over meat and stuff like that. This went through with flying colors, but I also have this tip goes into whatever you're trying to cut very, very nicely, because obviously it's very pointy. Whew. I don't know why that was difficult. So they all have these deep carry pocket clips. Very nice because they have the recessed screws. When you look at it on the side, they're flathead screws. They don't they're not obtrusive up into the channel here, and they don't snag your pants or anything like that. And then since they mill out a notch in the G10, it just sits flush. So that's really nice. A very deep pocket clip. I personally don't need it that deep, but I don't mind it that deep, I guess. Reminds me of how SOG was doing it for a while. So your pocket, as you can see, when it's in your pocket, the handle is totally obscured. You cannot see it at all. So who knows? It could be a pen, or it could be Hades in your pocket. Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Hades, Lord of the Underworld, right here in your pocket. I do love this G10 color with this acid tumble wash. I don't know what you call this. Acid stone wash, I guess. Sort of darkened with acid and then thrown in the medium tumbler. And you get this nice finish. I love the way that looks with this green. I think it's very handsome. I think all of these knives are really handsome. Let me show it off with the other... with the three other damn designs I got in this review sample here. Boom, boom. Fenrir. Here's the Cerberus. I know people are crazy about this knife. I think this one got the most sort of press, and I think this was the first of the group to come out. But I could be just talking out of school, as I do. And then the Invictus. Really, really nice knife. The blade shape of this is the least exciting to me, but pretty much looks like the most useful. I mean, they're all useful. They're all very useful, but this seems to be very robust. So does the Cerberus. Anyway, so they're all about the same size, all using the same materials. So it's just a variation on a theme, you know, slightly different shaped handles, same treatment of the G10 handles with those wide chamfers, same pivot, excellent action. Here, you know, this is a nice touch for 50 bucks. I do like the filler tab. I would appreciate that if other knives in this price category, or other knives at all, came with that. I do like that. Let me show this off with a couple of others for size. And let's see here. Here it is with a 3-inch knife. In this case, it's the Ritter Hogue RSK Mark I. Beautiful. By the way, they just came out with purple G-Mascus versions of the larger version of this, which I don't need, but I'd love to have. Here it is with another sort of extreme clip point. This is the Dogma by Civivi. Smaller knife in general, smaller package. Really like this knife. And then just two others here that seem pertinent. First is the PM2, just for size. Same size handle, a little bit shorter on the blade. And then this, my favorite recent bearings and thumb stud only knife, the Main Street by Concept. It's a beautiful knife. This one, what does this have? That's right, 154 cm on this. And by the way, that's mislabeled. This is not the Little Main Street. Little Main Street is a 3-inch version, 3-inch blade. So similar, very smooth action. Obviously, very different knife. Same size handle, pretty much the same size blade. Yeah, a little bit shorter, definitely. But you get that super smooth thumb stud only bearings action. All right, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. It's probably more like lady and gentlemen. Here it is. Really nice looking knife from Damned Designs and Adrian D'Souza. This is the Damned Designs Hades. Thanks for watching.